Kita ni dah lama dah tak ni.
Ni dah full.
Dah full.
Dengar clear tak? Tak clear juga
Clear. I can hear from my side. Okay, from your side, Prof.
Oh, sebab you tak dekat dengan kamera ke, dengan laptop kot.
So,
Okay,
dua-dua
okay.
tak dengar. Dua-dua dengar tak bagus.
Dengar. Tapi slow, bit slow. Tak apa, okay. Okay, can we, Dewan? No problem.
Alright, okay.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, the question yang ni hari tu kan, kata dia dah bagi kan, question kan. So, we are going to go about that question lah.
Okay, Prof. Okay, continue.
Okay. Alright, so the first question would be, can you briefly introduce yourself and your current role as a leader?
As a leader, okay.
Yelah,
Okay, my name is Muhammad Rameez Yahya. I'm actually working with the government of Malaysia, currently the so-called acting High Commissioner of Malaysia to Namibia, in charge of 4 countries in total, that of Namibia, Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Angola. In total, some very huge area of interest. And what more? That's general lah for myself.
Yes.
Lebih-lebih tu yeah. Thank you.
Okay. And then, so what has been your journey to this position?
It was a very long hurdle. In fact, I was once a very high position government officer, but then due to some political maneuvering, in inverted commas, I was dropped down. I don't mention demoted, but dropped down. And I fought back. And Alhamdulillah, after 30 years or so, my journey with the government office as a civil servant, I'm back to be posted in overseas. And, the journey is quite long-winded, a lot of hurdles. It's not a smooth running, but I learned from that.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So, because you mentioned that your journey, there was hurdle, long-winded and all that. If you can use one word to describe that experience, what word will you use?
One word, it is not agony, but is a brevity of journey.
Okay, all right. But you said you also learned so much from that.
Yeah, that would be your questions also, right, Prof?
Yes, challenges. All right, the next one. What approach do you take when making tough decisions that may not be popular with the team?
Okay, I'm actually a team person. Sometimes I will call my staff, my officers together, and then we discuss. But of course, the decisive factor will be myself. I will make that decision, the tough decision. And let's say, for example, we want to have an initiative with the government of Namibia. I'm in Namibia right now. And when we want to explore the possibility of a cooperation, a bilateral cooperation between Namibia and Malaysia in the defense sector. So I will inform my colleagues, telling them about this. This will be my so-called dream in order to enhance our relationship. And then I will ask them. Normally, the initiative comes from me. That's for real. The team, yes, of course, will listen. They will come to give some ideas. At the end of the day, the decisive factor will be myself. And there are some certain issues where sometimes they could not give the right approach. So I will then get advice also from some senior leaders, my own batchmate, who is also the Secretary General. Like, for example, Defense Cooperation Program, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Defense is actually my PTD batchmate, Dato Isham Ishak, Dato Sri Isham Ishak. So I will inform him, look here, Dato, we know each other, etc., but I would like to promote this idea of having collaboration between Malaysia and Namibia, since the defense cooperation is very minimal. And he agrees to it. Okay, never mind, Rameez, why not we give a scholarship for two of the defense officer to attend a course in Malaysia for a 1-year master course, and that can assist to trigger the minimum relations to become at least a medium level. So after the team cannot give a decisive, what we call a decision, then I will approach someone higher to get something from them. So because a leader doesn't mean that you give the order. Sometimes a leader needs
Yep.
some other people, your own contemporary, your own colleague to give ideas.
So, I mean, just asking from that. So, when you have to make unpopular decisions, have it like you receive adverse reaction from the team?
There was an incident whereby in Chile when I was ambassador back then, when we wanted to bring proton into Chile, we managed to bring proton to Chile at that time, and proton then decided to somehow give us a car, a proton Exora, for the use of the embassy of Malaysia in Santiago, Chile. And so I requested for assistance from our HQ in Malaysia back then with the top management. They were very hesitant. They said, no, you already have 2 cars. Why do you need one more? I said, no. This one car is not meant for, this is petty, but still is very important because of the national interest involved with it. And I told them that that's not the issue. We have 2 cars, yes, but this is given freely by Proton as a gesture of goodwill because of what we are doing promoting Proton in Chile. We actually sold thousands of Proton Preve. So they're giving us Proton Exora. So it can be utilized by the embassy. And we also mimic the Visit Malaysia logo and paste it on the whole front of the Proton. So everybody knows where is Malaysia, what is Malaysia, how it can offer, etc., etc. So when I attuned to this, top management did not agree. A lot of excuses were given. So my final decision is to get the top boss. The top boss was the foreign minister then. And the foreign minister was saying, yeah, we're getting it for free. Why not? And it's also exposure for Malaysia in overseas in Chile. So although there's a pity issue, it is not so exemplary, but still it shows sometimes you are having this leadership dilemma when the person who is managing you doesn't attune to your philosophy. But you have to be creative to become a leader. That's it. If you just stagnate yourself and you think a leader is just doing nothing, just go shopping and just follow whatever is being instructed, then you are not a leader.
Yeah, correct. Good advice there. Okay, so the next one would be 3 significant leadership challenges. But I think to make it easier, maybe we can combine with the next question about how did you approach and also navigate each of these challenges. So maybe when you talk about the challenges, you explain about the first challenges and then how you approach and navigate. Then second challenges, how you approach and navigate. I think that will make it easier for the interview.
Leadership challenges.
Mm-mm.
Leadership challenges, the first, and from my perspective, would be to get the consensus from the top management. Although you're a leader, there are also leaders on top of you. And how do you navigate? Some people would think that a leader needs to follow whatever the top management requests you to do it. Sometimes as a leader, you don't be guided by it because sometimes you feel that what your action is telling is the truth. How you manage it, and therefore you proceed with it. But then you will get the side effect later. For example, when I was in Melbourne as a Consul General of Malaysia back then, I wanted because we were newly established, so we wanted to have some kind of assistance to our home-based staff. Home-based staff is actually our officers which was sent by Malaysia to serve in overseas. So wanted them to also get the benefit of being an officer in Melbourne, Australia. Benefit like, for example, having a house, having a fully furnished house, etc., etc. So when that happened, then we have to get in touch with some of the businessmen down there. Fortunate or unfortunate, we have a lot of Malaysian businessmen. So the Malaysian businessmen agreed to it. We said okay, and we agreed to it. And I have to be the leader in signing an agreement, which I thought it was just on face value. There's nothing very much because there's nothing, no legal implication. So I assisted all my staff. But at the end of the day, I got a repercussion. So as a leader, sometimes there will be a negative effect where you will receive the so-called negative repercussion for the positive element that you're bringing for your officers. So how you navigate, you just follow your heart. You must have sympathy also to your staff, to your officers, because a leader need to be setting example to your officers, regardless of anything. So that was first. And second, there was an issue, challenge whereby sometimes your officers do some hanky-panky thingy. Because as a government officer with Malaysia, of course, our overseas allowances, our so-called perks are not that much. We don't receive that much, unlike other diplomatic officers from other foreign countries. So we have to make do with what we have. So by that virtue, and there are issues that our officers do hanky-panky. So what I did was, if I follow the normal procedure, rules and regulation of the government peraturan 1993, then we have to report to the HQ. The repercussion will be that officer will be suspended, or sometimes will be dismissed from their service, and especially those who are nearly retirement. So with that into mind, I call the officer and I say, okay, look here, I have noticed what happened, what transpired. I have evidence here. If I indicate this to the HQ or SPRM, then you will have a problem later. You won't receive your pension. You have a lot of things to answer, etc., etc. So I have the empathy. You have to have empathy as a leader. I said to him, okay, this is my last word of chance to you. Don't do it again. Try to resolve the matter as soon as possible. But let bygones be bygones. But some people say, no, that's not supposed to be the way, because you are actually condoning to an act of wrongdoing. Yes, but at the same time, sometimes you have to look into the overall picture. If you are talking to someone, a staff, an officer your subordinate are very young, then they have more chances to grow up. But if you're talking to someone, a subordinate who's already old, nearly retirement, and you have that negative attitude towards him, reporting to HQ, everything, you're not a leader. A leader needs to have empathy, to have sympathy, and he has to show his leadership role as well. And what more, we are at Melbourne for the first time. We operated and first established our consulate there. Everybody is new, so we have to give and take sometimes. Yeah. And thirdly, the another challenge that I foresee in leadership, I'm talking implicitly. Yeah? Probably you, Professor, can probably elaborate further on this issue. Is that with regard to a leader sometimes have to make a tough decision. A leader sometimes have also a lot of work to do. That's significant. Like, for example, in Namibia, I have to do accounts, I have to do political report, economic report, everything. Sometimes I don't have the time, but I have to take the time because my officers are not that level of what we call thinking. They are very junior mindset, and they don't have that level of tertiary education to write a report to Malaysia. So, like, for example, we have to write situation reports, economic dossier, economic report, political report, and things that we need to advise our HQ so that our HQ can advise our Prime Minister. And sometimes we have to take the lead or initiative in order to collaborate with Namibia, We cannot just being here, being sent by the government of Malaysia, doing nothing, just sit still or stand still. No, that is not my way. Some leaders are like that. Some leaders they like to be creative. So the significant challenge is you have multitask to do, and how you navigate it is to train yourself to be creative, to train yourself to be more understanding of the scenario of the country concerned. I myself, as acting High Commissioner of Malaysia to Namibia, sometimes I don't have the privilege to meet the president. Okay, never mind. So I take a creative mindset, meeting some other people who are related to the president. Like, for example, the so-called SWAPO political party, where the president is a leader of that party. So by meeting these people, then they attach me and say, okay, let me introduce you to the president. So that's another way of indirectly.
Mm. Dato'? Hello? Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
because you froze.
the line
Oh
is
yeah,
loose here.
okay. All right, okay. Sorry. You were just now talking about when you met someone who can introduce you to the president.
Yeah, that's how you maneuver it. Your strategy of not being granted by the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation to meet the president is by maneuvering it by meeting with other leaders who are engaging with the president, businessmen, political leadership, etc., etc. So you have multitask to do. You have to look at the environment. Your strategy is to be creative.
Mm. Yeah, correct. Okay. So I was just curious based on the answers that you gave just now, and then also one of the question that I asked just now was that were there any situation where you made an unpopular decision and you receive feedback from your team, but then it made me curious now because you also mentioned that the leader also have to answer to the management. So have you ever been in the situation where the management make a decision and it's unpopular to you. So you feel that you actually don't quite agree with the management, but then they are the management, so you have to move on.
There are many scenarios, of course. Working the government civil sector, there are many scenarios. Sometimes whatever the top management does, you feel like discrimination towards you. I think many people, even lecturers at UITM, also is
Yes,
facing the
yes.
same scenario. So there was a situation whereby when I was so-called the downfall of Dato Rameez at that time. Yeah, in
Mm-hmm.
2018, I was actually GAM, in inverted commas, or cold storage for nearly
Mm-hmm.
4 years and 4 months. So because of the decision by top management saying that there was an abuse of power. Well, I say there was not abuse of power, but there was just helping up my fellow officer staff, officers in Melbourne. And what more, the issue happened like 8 years before in Melbourne, and
Mm-hmm.
why you are punishing me in Chile and you recalling me as the ambassador from Chile. But I took the positive approach. Okay, let them call me up. And what made me really sad was that during that time, my children, especially my daughter, is nearly to complete her studies at the international school doing IGSE. And I pledged with the government, with the ministry at that time, the top management of the ministry at that time,
Mm-hmm.
saying that please, can you give me some leeway, let my daughter to complete her studies, another 2 more months, and then you recall me back home in Malaysia. I will do my so-called whatever punishment you feel that I supposed to receive. They said, no, if you want, we can provide, this is just an example, we can provide it for your so-called children and your wife. They have to pay their own lodging, they have to pay their own, etc., etc. You have to come back. And that was during Bulan Puasa. So I said, told them it's okay lah. If that's the case, let me bring back my children, my family, let them study again in Malaysia, and let them do again a year in Malaysia, repeating. There's no problem, there's no harm. But then I see another officer who did the same issue. Disciplinary action was taken on him, but he was given a leeway because he paid for his daughter another 6 months. So he always stayed in Singapore, and until December after the daughter finished, then he was recalled back. So I find it so discriminatory. As a leader, you need to be fair. If you give the person the same treatment, then it will be fine, because you will be answerable at the end of the day, not just to your own people, but to God, to Allah. So that really kindled me a bit. But life is ongoing. So I took the advantage of taking law at UITM. I said, never mind, I'll fulfill my time working, but at the same time, I will do my law and see how I can maneuver using the law, the loopholes, and how
Yeah.
to fight my case, and etc. etc.
That was a very good decision for you to take. Okay. All right. Then the next one, what did you learn from the experiences and how did they shape your leadership style?
I was a bit in the early beginning when I was a charge affair of Malaysia in Timor Leste. I opened up our embassy in Timor Leste before independence and after independence in 2001. So I was the first head of mission of Malaysia back then, as a charge affair, of course. And when during that time I was still young, just completed my tenure in New York for 4.5 years. And the foreign minister back then was Dato Sri Said Ami Alba. He offered me to go to Washington, D.C. I told him that, no, Dato Sri, probably not, because people make remarks. It was really my stupidity back then. I should have just received that offer. But anyway, as lights turn on,
Sorry,
and then
Dato', what remark was that? What
pardon
remark
me.
you said? What remark you said?
I should have just accept what Dato Said Ami Alba offered to me, posting in Washington D.C. But instead, I said, never mind. I do not wish to receive remarks from other colleagues saying that, hey, you already got New York and now you've been posted Washington. It's
Oh,
not
I
fair. You
see.
understand
Okay.
that kind of
Alright.
remark, especially by
Uh-uh.
people who
Yeah.
doesn't like you to grow up. So then I kept quiet for a year. Then I decided to take Timor Leste because no one wants to go there. There were a lot of offered, but a lot of people were offered, but they all rejected it. So I took over, and at that time my leadership style was more of we can say dictatorial, uh, because I feel that I'm the boss. Whatever decision I make, you have to follow. And after these challenges that I received for the past 4.5 years, being so-called cold storage in Malaysia, couldn't even attend courses, international courses in overseas because I've been cold storage. Then I realized that you got how many more years to go. Be empathy, be sympathy to your officers. Sometimes you have to be tough. You have to be strict, but at the same time also be sympathy. Because at the end of the day, people will look you when you retire as how you were once a datuk. No, people will look at you on your character, on how you deliver, on
Yeah.
how you manage them, and how you treat them. So for me, you don't like me now, it's okay. But in future, you never know. Then you will come a day you say, oh yeah, Dr. Rameez has taught me a lot. For me, I push people. But at the same time, I understand their limitation. I try to maneuver, I try to assist, uh, and I'm a person who will do the job together, not just like I was even in Timor Leste. It's just school people and ask them to do their job.
Oh.
You have to do it. You have to do it. No, I will go into it also, and I will do it myself together. That's my leadership style.
So, I think we can say that actually your experience changed you. Changed
Uh,
you Into a better
significantly
leader?
to become not a better leader, to better person, not
A
a
bet
better
oh,
leader. A
not
better,
just a leader, but also a person. Yeah.
hopefully,
Mm,
hopefully.
mm,
And sometimes, as Sun Tzu said, I think you know that it's
mm-hmm.
better not to make war with people. That is the best acme of skill. So, as the saying rightly says, big mind think hard to push themselves. Small mind think hard to push others.
Okay. Okay, next one, second last actually. How do you reflect on your leadership experiences and use them for personal and professional growth?
I think, as I mentioned, you the experience that I went through for the past 30 years make me a better person. I'm learning every day. We are learning.
Yes.
We are not prophet. I learn from experience. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I receive leaders who I also was lead before, and I've still been lead by before. I still, and in fact, the Secretary General of Ministry of Foreign Affairs at current is also my own batchmate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Although he's elder than me by 3 years, we entered together in the PTD service in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
I learned from his experience. He learned from our experience as well. It's vice versa. And significantly, it teaches us about life. A leader would not be a leader if it doesn't teach you about life. So, and first and foremost, the most important thing is about life. Although you are leader in the office, you're also leader in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a leader to your imam, to your family, to your wife, to your children. It teaches you how to train them. To teach your children, I got 6 children altogether, but to
Okay.
teach them
Alhamdulillah.
is quite tough. Sometimes, and what more, they are now 4 of them in Malaysia, two is with me, two are with me, sorry. And how do you manage it? Sometimes my wife feel a bit displeased why we are posted in Namibia in Africa. I
Mm.
said, it might be a punishment to us, but we make do and we create something different. So people see now we are creating our own. As the saying says, a diamond will be diamond anywhere you go.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Okay, and then the last one, what advice would you give to aspiring leaders based on your own leadership journey?
I think the most important thing about leader, you have to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be tough with your decision. Uh, there are times where your people will argue with you. We have no problem with argument, but it has to be in decorum. Because leader pun kadang-kadang ada ego. It's
Mm-hmm.
like your son also or your wife. If
Mm-hmm.
they start quarreling with you, you will have ego also. You have to
Mm-hmm.
curtail them. Say, look here, I'm the husband. But you have to do it in the ikmah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing as a leader. The most important thing is to have empathy and sympathy to people. I give an example. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
a reality which happened at the embassy of Malaysia in Namibia. There was an incident whereby this lady, Namibian, she actually now pregnant with a child, and but they didn't get married. So my advice was actually, please get married. But the problem is the culture in Namibia does not emphasize that. The culture in Namibia is a bit flexible, liberal. And what more, the culture imbued the impediment whereby in order for a lady to get married with a boy, that boy needs to provide with huge amount of money, capital, kettles. So that exchange of so-called dowry make it difficult for them to get married. So after understanding the culture scenario, and although she has done some comments, etc., but I said, never mind, I give her a chance. I'm going to continue her contract of working. Although I understand that that will have an effect towards the organization of the embassy. For 3 months, she will be, although she's not legally married, but we have to condone with the culture in Namibia. So I told her, okay, as a human being, I have more concern to you, the baby in your womb, not on you, the baby in the womb.
Mm.
And because of that, of the empathy and sympathy they have, I will continue your contract. So as a leader, sometimes you have to give and take. You have to have the empathy and sympathy. I think the most thing that I experienced for the past 30 years of my share as a government civil servant is that learn to understand others.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. That is a very good advice. I think Haris told you that two of my brothers are actually PTT officers. They know
Uh,
you and they admire you actually.
oh, thank you, thank you. I admire
Yeah.
Professor Haris and you also.
Thank
Remember
you
you
so
were
much.
riding your motorbike. Say my thanks also to Professor Haris. Keep in touch.
Yeah, sure.
Is there anything
Yeah,
else?
okay.
Itu je,
That's all.
Prof.
Don't want to take any more of your time, but thank you so much for agreeing to help me with my assignment. Thank you so much. We hope we can go to Namibia before you
InsyaAllah
come back
datang.
to
I
Malaysia for
told the
good.
Prof to come. Yeah. Naik motor.
Yeah, actually.
Have a ride, come over.
Namibia.
I will
Oh
come
yeah.
back from Malaysia in July, nanti kita jumpa satu hari. InsyaAllah.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Anak
July.
saya
Okay.
dah habis lah meskom dekat UiTM Shah Alam.